Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Hold on a second, I got something in my throat. Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are the Art School Rejects, and tonight we have Carlos.
Hey.
And we have Luis.
Hello.
And we have myself, which is Shane. Tonight's topic is Batman versus Superman. Unfortunately, wow.
Fortunately, I only paid $6 to watch it.
It was like $7 with tax.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
you guys are lucky. I got hit with $15.
Yeah, we went on a Tuesday because we know that we could save a little bit of money and not pay in.
Oh, nice.
It was still too expensive for that movie.
Oh yeah, damn. $5 is too expensive for this.
I originally
movie.
wanted to pirate it. I wanted no money going to them hands.
Whose hands are you talking about?
Anybody.
Warner Brothers.
Anybody that's gonna like somehow siphon that back into another Snyder movie.
Ooh, there's a lot of Snyder hate here.
Oh yeah.
Is this something that spawned before this movie, or is it?
Well, Superman, Man of Steel wasn't a great movie.
Okay, I agree. I agree there. It wasn't bad though. It could have been better, all Superman movies, but it wasn't that bad.
Well, the thing is, it suffered from the same thing that Batman versus Superman suffers, which is the storytelling. It's like the way a film should be structured. It's more of a filmmaking issue than it is the source material or anything like that. Or which Superman story he decided to tell. It's how he told it is, in a more technical, filmmaking approach that wasn't very good.
Ah, okay. So you didn't actually dislike the movie then? Like you just hated, as you said, the direction.
I mean, that's the same thing, isn't it?
But I'm saying, like, okay,
well,
the visuals
what
were
I'm
they
saying,
bad?
What I'm saying is that it was a bad film first, and then an okay superhero movie second. Because I'm still not. I didn't like the actual. Well, it's just hard to see through the bad filmmaking, which I think it's not the fault of like the actors. I think the actors did a pretty good job portraying those
some of them
characters.
Some of them did better than others. I think Henry Cavill. I think that's his name, the Superman.
Yeah, that's the Superman guy.
He's a little stiff, I think.
But that's also part of directing. That's the character that was thrown at him. He did. There was no scene where you could say, oh, he's supposed to be showing more emotion, or his dialogue is supposed to be a little bit more emotional, or he's supposed to be more stoic, or just something. But no, the movie just doesn't have that.
Well, it has scenes. Well, it has everybody talking about how he is stoic and good. Like, other people are talking about it.
Yeah.
But we never actually see it.
No.
Yeah, we get the Superman, we get the Clark Kent, himself being Clark Kent, and everyone else wants him to be Superman. Like, even that's one of the major plot lines of the whole movie, like how his father was saying, like, Superman is pretty much his father's image. It's not who he really is. And he's always been fighting that.
Which father?
The Robin Hood good. Not the first Robin Hood guy, Kevin Costner.
Jor-El.
Yeah.
Is his name Steve?
What?
Are you talking about Kevin Costner?
Are you talking Kevin Costner or what's his name?
What's
Russell?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Yeah. Which one?
Russell Crowe is Jor-El.
Yeah.
And it's Martha Kent and
Pa Kent.
Papa Kent.
Papa.
The dad.
I made all these burgers for all these kids. No one showed up.
His name is Jonathan Kent.
Geez.
Jonathan Kent.
But he only calls him Pa Kent. It's Mom Pa Kent.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
So But I mean, getting back onto it. So Superman is Jonathan's idea of who Clark Kent should be. You know, because he realizes that, you know, his son has all this power and all this. So, hey, use your power for the greater good.
Yeah.
But Clark himself has also been struggling. Like, listen, like, I am still
not really.
But that's what is kind of portrayed in this movie.
Yeah, for no reason.
But I think it's good though because it gives you more of a
that would be a decent storyline for a Superman 2, not Batman versus Superman, where it's like, who's the main focus of this movie?
That's the thing. It was both of them, because and this is why I guess I like the movies, because you got to see a human version of Superman, and you got to see more of a human version of Bruce Wayne. Yeah, but you already saw the human version of Superman in his own movie. So it's like, whatever he was dealing with in his own movie, it's like he didn't solve it. So now we're dealing it in this movie as well, and he still didn't solve it. He just fucking died. It's like they never solve that. Like that's an issue. And
it's also it's something that doesn't need to be solved. Like why does Superman have to struggle with this? He's Superman. Like, can he just be Superman and like just be Superman in the whole movie and be badass in Superman? And just be amazing and like be like inspirational but save people. So broken away from everybody. Just save people. Just like be super. Like when the U.S. Senate explodes and there's a fucking horrible, disastrous destruction, don't just like fly away like a fucking creepy
when the
dude.
Shit was exploding. He was essentially rolling his eyes. He was like, "Ah, oh, damn it."
Yeah. Now I got to deal with this shit.
If we're talking about, oh my god, human emotion. His entire, like, he's like the most selfish motherfucker in this entire movie, because
it's not Superman.
The only people he cares in this movie is Lois Lane and his mom. He doesn't give a shit about any other human. So you're talking about his human side? Which part? The extremely selfish person, or the person that cares for humanity? Like which
it goes against everything that Superman stands for.
But I think it's more so of just him being a person. Sure, you know what? There's people out there who can save the world, but they choose not to. They just care about certain individuals.
They're called villains.
But I mean, if you kind of, even if you look at, sure. But I mean, maybe he's come to that point, you know, like one thing that I found that was very funny is like, is he very selective of who he saves? Like
in this movie?
Yeah, but I'm saying like he can't be everywhere. And
honestly, this specific portrayal of Superman isn't necessarily what to me the worst thing in the film. I mean, this specific Superman is a Superman that is, you're right. He is Clark Kent, and he is learning to be Superman. At least the way I kind of perceived it, right? And from what everybody's saying, it's like, oh, he's still learning to be Superman, which. I mean, I don't know why they chose this particular movie with this limited amount of time to give him in order to raise that, because it's like, all right, so what about everybody else? What about like kind of resolving that story? I mean,
the reason why I think he directed that is because it made Superman in that flick at least the most minimum like able to take on Batman. Because if you even look at on how the whole Batman, the final fight, if he was Superman, the Superman that exactly, he would have just stayed back and be like, we gotta go save my mom. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You know? It would have been done. And Batman would have been like, okay, you're not gonna kill me? Alright, thanks, bro. You know, but the movie would have been boring.
It was boring.
It wasn't boring.
3 hours of me just looking for the exit.
But I mean, for me, like, I loved one thing that I really liked about it was that Batman himself, he wasn't Batman all the time.
What?
Like the Batman suit was like, he wasn't, what I'm trying to say is like he was more Bruce Wayne doing like detective stuff, and the suit was kind of a last minute.
He was a horrible detective. Everybody fucking saw him walking around and walking. I mean, he had the worst. I mean, oh my God. He was in the fucking server room playing with fucking cables, and he was like, hey, what are you doing here? oh, I thought this was the bathroom. It's like, oh my God, are you serious? And then the guy walked out and left him in there.
Oh, it wasn't a lady. It was Mercy.
Whatever.
It was like Lex Luthor's like left-hand lady or right-hand lady.
So, I mean, you
Mercy
could say
Graves.
that, maybe she let him in there because
I was really upset that she didn't have a robot cannon arm.
Oh yeah, that's right. She's supposed to have that.
Well, whatever.
But they didn't get that cannon. Haha, get it? Cannon?
Oh.
Sure. I mean, in the defense that I think Alfred, I believe, set up the tone of the movie. When he said to Bruce Wayne, you're not the same person. Like, you're blinded by rage and all this type of jazz.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's like that. Batman wasn't on his A game like throughout the whole movie. He was.
Well, wasn't this a more retired Batman? Like he hadn't worn the Batsuit.
He's been in the game.
He's been in the
game for a while.
And like, you know, as you can clearly see, like the Joker had to have done something to Robin of his, and then, you know, seeing what Superman can do and him losing like his business partner. And
that's not why he tried to kill Superman, though. It had nothing to do with his building collapsing or his business partner. No, I'm
saying the death of all these people. I'm saying at this point, we can that wasn't see like that.
It was the motivation came from the Flash using the Speed Force to travel back in time and tell him that Superman is going to become
that was not his beginning reason. That was just a little bit of fluff in the middle,
which made Flash absolutely no real sense unless you know the entire context of what's going to happen in the future movies or something big. And another thing, it's like that was a dream.
Was it?
Or was it a dream?
Or was it not?
I don't think it was a dream. I think it was like
he literally woke
up. There's like paperwork that flies off his desk, like
because it was kind of like a little bit of Inception. You know, it was like a dream within a dream.
Is that a thing that the Speed Force can do?
Maybe, who knows?
But here's the thing. He also has the other vision of him where he's also dreaming. Apparently, any hints of anything, at any cameo or whatever, have to be in a fucking dream in order to fit it into the story somehow.
Yeah, but he didn't.
When he's in the supposed future where Superman's like a god or whatever, or he's like,
well, he turns into the Injustice Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
from the video game.
But in here's another gripe that I have with the movie is like in that specific dream sequence, that thing is riddled with dark side fucking symbolism and characters and all that shit. And it's like, how does Superman dream about Darkseid? I mean, in this movie, he barely knows about fucking, what does it call them? Not mutants, obviously not mutants. Like superhumans or whatever.
Metahumans,
yeah. He barely knows about any other metahuman other than Superman, and that's the reason that, you know, he practically wants to kill Superman, because it's like nobody should have that much power or whatever. So why is he dreaming about Darkseid? How is Darkseid symbolism in his head for this random future? But that's okay. Then here, listen to this.
Okay,
if he is dreaming of the actual future or things to come, they just gave away that Superman is alive in the future.
Yeah,
I mean, he's okay. You see him; he's in the future. If this is just like a conceptual dream, where did he get the symbolism for Darkseid?
In that sequence that you're talking about, that's the dreamscape that happened the same time Flash does the Speed Force thing and tells him like, "Oh my God, am I too early? Like, it's Lois. It's always been Lois. You're right."
Does that happen at the same time?
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. The one where
he's in the desert.
He's in the desert trying to get the Kryptonian or Kryptonite.
Yeah.
From the cellars, and the deal goes sour.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That dream happens, and then, you know, it's like he wakes up to like Flash saying like, "Oh my God, like, you guys stop Superman. It's always been Lois, whatever." And then like he wakes back up again. So that's what you're talking about. It seems like it might have been a vision from Flash. I don't know. Who knows, really? about that.
So Flash has the power to embed visions into dreams.
I do not know.
And what we're trying to tell you, Shane, is that there's stupid shit riddled throughout this entire movie.
I truly get it. Okay, I understand.
So if you understand, then how can you sit here and tell us that, like, oh yeah, that was a good movie though?
Because I enjoyed it.
Okay,
I enjoyed the movie. I'm not saying it was a bad movie.
Weren't you telling me that you like Zoolander and shit like that?
What? It doesn't matter, but
okay, all right. So I just want to get an idea of where you're coming from.
But you understand why, like, in terms of storytelling, he is throwing fucking
a lot of books
a lot of things in fucking trying to make something stick, and everything is very unclear what direction he's taking. Is it a dream? Is it not a dream? Are these visions of the actual future? Are they not dreams of the actual future? I mean, because if
he's still alive in the future, then also his so-called sacrifice at the end is completely meaningless.
Yeah, because if that is a vision of the future, then we already know that he's alive.
Exactly.
Yeah, but okay, I think
he already sacrificed himself like 5 minutes ago when he took the nuke up into space and exploded.
Yeah,
so he was willing to do that, and then he died.
So yeah,
so it's like the basically the emotion that you're supposed to feel from him, like kind of taking that Kryptonian spear and kind of sacrificing himself into Doomsday.
That weakens the sacrifice.
It weakens the sacrifice because we already just saw him sacrifice himself. I mean, he tried to do what in my opinion is a much better Superman story, and it doesn't even have Superman in it. Is the Iron Giant, but in that movie, right, the Iron Giant really actually does a real self-sacrifice
by doing the same thing.
By doing the same thing, he takes a nuke and he takes it into space to save people,
but
not
they
hadn't
actually thought about it
himself.
like how you're saying it, Carlos. In terms of it, maybe I subconsciously did it to me, but I didn't see the sacrifice, and I guess the reason I didn't see the sacrifice is because it was already cheapened by the fact that he already died, and we saw, he can come back to life. He can die and come back to life.
Okay. Let me just stop you guys really quick. The first thing, he didn't sacrifice himself with the nukes. They shot the nukes at him.
He was holding...
he had no clue.
Down.
Listen, he had no clue that the nukes were going off. He was busy dealing with Doomsday, just trying to get him out of the atmosphere.
Yeah,
so that's even worse. That means he didn't even know that he was trying to save people.
No, he didn't hold him down. He realized afterwards that he saw that the nuke was coming at him and Doomsday. He was like, okay, let me just put this guy in front of me. Sure, why not?
No, but
it wasn't a thought of I gotta sacrifice myself.
Yes,
whatever.
No, I completely agree that the movie did not set up the. I mean, if the entire
said
story
it was like a sacrifice.
No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that we already know that he can come back to life. They literally just showed it to you 2 seconds ago, and then you expect me to believe that 5 minutes later when he actually supposedly does die.
Listen, at the end of the movie, we've all seen Lois Lane drop the dirt on the casket, and you saw the casket stuff flutter up how he does with...
That can mean anything, though.
Listen, how it flutters up when Superman is doing that gravitational pull thing when he flies. So that's just a symbolic thing to say you know what? He's still alive.
So, but that's what we're saying. But his ultimate sacrifice for the humanity was bullshit, because we already we don't feel it as much because we already know that he's coming back. We're like, we know he's coming back.
Ultimately, with Superman, bro.
No, I completely agree. But I'm just saying, why did they kill him in space? Why did he die and then come back?
But the reason why they put that in there is because of, I believe it's The Dark Knight. There's a scene in The Dark Knight. I think it's The Dark Knight Returns. The comic book I'm talking about. The whole real reason why the Batman versus Superman movie is kind of based off of. There's a point in that where I believe someone launches someone launches a nuke at some place and Superman takes it into space and it blows up. And that's what that whole scene is iconic referencing back to. when he got hit by it, like he was left like to like barely nothing. He looked zombified, and he was just staying in space or so, and people thought he was dead. But you know, he regenerated himself after taking some time. So that's the whole reason why they put that scene in there.
No, and I understand that they're trying to reference something, but it just doesn't fit in this movie. And at the same time, it weakens the fact that, his ultimate sacrifice later on or like 2 minutes later, is not as big of a sacrifice as you would think, because it's like, we know he can regenerate from practically death. So it's like, it doesn't feel like, oh my God, he's never coming back. Oh my God, he truly made the ultimate sacrifice. Because they gave us so many references to the fact that he will be coming back. That it's
why
like,
not just use Doomsday, like real Doomsday? Like, not like a weird, like
a bullshit
Lex Luthor, like weird
Doomsday. You know. I mean, it's a movie. They had to figure out a way.
But just do it the regular way. Just he's from an ancient creature that's from Krypton, long before there was ever like Kryptonians. Like
the real Doomsday.
Yeah, just use the real. Like, what's wrong with that? I mean,
the best version of Doomsday.
Yeah, the only version of Doomsday like that I know of. I mean, and he actually first make him look like Doomsday, not like some like weird like baby. Fake Hulk. Yeah, like a weird like a wannabe Hulk, and then make him look like Doomsday. Just use Doomsday.
Look like
just
Doomsday in the end, where he changed up, like he had the bones cracking out and all that.
He looked like
stuff.
Some kind of like weird like Cadmus monster that they made using like some kind of weird serum.
And also, practically almost every incarnation of Doomsday is extremely smart and can talk. So what is this? What is that guy? I mean, am I wrong here?
I mean,
he doesn't shoot lightning bolts out of his face either.
Yeah,
but I mean that's based off of the whole thing that he's Zod in there. So that's where you can get that from.
Yeah. Why couldn't
just make it Doomsday? Not like this, like not Doomsday.
I mean,
I guess it was the clever way of just kind of bringing him in here.
No, not clever at all.
I don't know. I mean, hey, maybe for the first time. Hold on a second, Carlos. Maybe for the first time, Zack Snyder said to himself, Let me have a little bit of fun here, because we've seen him do 300, and it pretty much is like the comic book. Watchmen, it was pretty much like the comic book, but this time he probably was like, hey, let me have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, that's why those movies were good, because he didn't change it.
20% Rotten Tomatoes score. That's what happens.
But I mean, here's the thing. Obviously, he has absolutely no problem introducing brand new things to not brand new, but like he has no problem throwing time travel in your face. He has absolutely no problem throwing like this future Superman, Dark Side fucking
Injustice,
event, whatever.
Say that.
He has absolutely no problem throwing Wonder Woman and not telling you at all what the fuck she's doing there. I mean, they tell you what she's doing there, but how she got there or anything other than the fact that I'm looking for a fucking picture. Oh, really? All right. Because pictures on the internet can't be copied anymore, apparently. I mean, fucking Batman now has a copy. And he emails it to her. I mean, so it's like...
He emailed it to her using Hillary Clinton's personal server.
Yeah, and he apparently can't fucking type, because it's like every other sentence is like space, sentence, space, sentence, space. It's like, who are you? It was
That's
pretty dumb.
I write emails like that.
How did he get her email? First of all, was that
explained? Diana Prince at.
I mean,
at gmail.com.
I didn't know she cared about like these things.
You guys, I think it wasn't bad. It's okay. Ultimately, it's a lot of information that was crammed into.
Yeah, that's why it was a bad movie.
Yeah,
a lot of time. But for me,
I love how you're like your defense of it is like everything that's wrong with it.
But for me, I know all of this. Like, I know the whole Flashpoint, or is it? I'm not sure if it's Flashpoint. Let's just say the injustice aspect of
Flashpoint was
that's something totally different. Yeah. But it did have a Flashpoint-esque feel to it, with especially Batman. Like how Batman was, how he
was
murdered people.
The Thomas Wayne version of Batman.
Right.
Where instead of Thomas and Martha getting killed, it's actually Bruce that gets killed in Crime Alley, and then Thomas Wayne becomes Batman, but he's Batman like the Punisher like Batman. Yeah. So and that's pretty much what Joker. Batman was in this movie. Yeah. He was, I mean, Batman usually doesn't have a minigun on the front of his Batwing. Like just riddles criminals with bullets.
Yeah, he doesn't really brand people either.
No. You know. or like send them to like prison so they can get raped like on purpose.
which is weird because it's like everybody in prison, a lot of the people in prison are probably put there by Batman. So why are those criminals on Batman's side? It's like, oh, your Batman put you here. We're gonna kick your ass because Batman doesn't like you. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what happened?
Well, they were pedophiles.
No,
they were pedophiles.
I don't think so.
They were pedophiles.
I don't think that happened in the movie. And all I know is that he branded people and stuff like that. But I don't think there was anyone like in prison that was on his side.
I know
well,
that.
No, they mentioned like on the news article. There was like a news broadcast that mentioned that like he brands them because when they get locked up eventually, then they get like raped.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Nah, I think you guys
essentially they're saying it's
watch it again, bro.
Yeah.
The bat saying,
no,
like, oh no, they're gonna rape me.
That happened.
No, I don't think that's the case. But I mean,
what were we talking about?
As I was getting back to my point, like I enjoyed it because I know of all these things. You know, I know of the book of the Dark Knight, the whole Doomsday, Superman,
you don't know
Superman.
I mean, who doesn't know that?
A lot of people don't know that.
But that just because he pulled stuff from I mean, books that those books, half of those books aren't even canon. But just because he pulled it from storylines doesn't make it a good movie.
No, it's
the implementation of all these details. Like he was more concerned about throwing random standalone details that didn't work together than actually crafting a story that's linear and like it works together. It all feeds into each other.
It was a montage, a disjointed montage.
Yeah.
It's kind of like he just threw as much as possible, and I'm sure it's because it could possibly be because DC or whoever is pushing for Justice League.
Yo, you need to do this. You need to do that.
Sure, then let's spread the blame across a few people. Maybe it's not just Snyder, but
that's what I said initially, man.
It hurt the movie.
Oh, of course.
I actually think that it's the opposite.
You gotta
of that.
think about it. No, I don't think it's the opposite. Because
hear me out.
If you
in Marvel, there's a guy named Kevin Feige, right? And he controls everything, all the movies, everything, all the shows, like everything that's like a Marvel property. Kevin Feige is overseeing it, and he is the one that basically controls quality controls.
Is he related to Christine Feige?
We can fact check that later. We'll get research on it. We'll get R&D on it. So there's a guy that actually oversees everything and will say that like, no, this isn't quality. This isn't like something that we're going to put out because it doesn't align itself with the values of Marvel or what we're trying to do as a universe. So there's a guy actually in charge of everything, kind of overseeing that. Warner Brothers doesn't have that guy. They just gave Zack Snyder like just do whatever you want, and he did whatever he wanted. And
so it is Zack Snyder's fault.
No, I don't think so, man. There's no way that this is just a Zack Snyder film. Like Zack Snyder, here you go. The whole company's running on your back. No way. It's definitely there's a lot of input.
That's why it came out the way it came out.
No, but I don't. It's kind of the same way like how Avengers 2 came out. Whedon wanted to make the movie a little bit better, but the studio Disney at some point was saying, bro, you should put this scene in here. Oh, you should take this scene out and stuff like that. Like, I'm pretty sure like one of the best scenes in the whole entire movie when they're at Hawkeye's place.
Yeah.
Like, that was going to be taken out. The studio didn't want to give Whedon any time to shoot that, so he had to really go and shoot all that stuff in one day.
Hey, but it made it into the film.
I'm talking about the contrast about how studios and directors, how they have to fight, and you're pretty much saying like in Marvel's case, there's a a general person who is looking over. But I'm telling you that even in the case of
that works
Avengers,
in their favor. That means that it's going to be like Doctor Strange is going to come out and it's going to be on the same level as Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's not going to be like all this confusion
I understand that,
with all of these characters. Like you're not going to have like Aquaman in a scene like literally holding his breath.
That was the worst. To me that was like
the
worst
whole
part
time he's
movie.
like holding his like bro, Aquaman doesn't need to hold his breath.
He was just like, what?
Yeah, and he's like, what is this thing in front of me? And he's just floating there for fucking 5 minutes, looking like he can't fucking swim.
I guess that guy is the same guy from Game of Thrones in this movie. He's just doing the same thing. Yeah. We just saw Khal Drogo in the water swimming with a staff.
No, this was definitely more calm down version. Khal Drogo was a fucking beast.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But he's a beast in the water, you know, like a water beast. Anyway, but getting back to it, man.
My moon and my stars.
I think there was more hands involved in this than just being a Snyder film. Sure.
That's what you hope.
But that's besides the point. Like, the point is, whatever happened, the end product was just it got damaged.
Yeah. It's horrible. It's hard because listen, at the end of the day, they're playing a serious catch-up game. They're late.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
Marvel's already into Avengers 2. I know they don't have to. You and I would say, oh, you don't have to. Play your game.
Yeah.
Play your game. Yeah. Play ball.
Yeah. Like after Iron Man 1, there wasn't a scene of like Josh Brolin, like purple Josh Brolin, like, one day I'm going to come down there.
You would think people would take their time. But no, bro, it's about money, and that's the reason why Batman versus Superman came out the way it is.
But they lost money.
They
left money on the table. They didn't lose money. They didn't lose money. They left money on the table.
Yeah, because the earning potential it's not going to make $1 billion.
It's not going to make $1 billion, and that's kind of like if you make $1 billion, then you're with the big boys, and it's not going to get anywhere near that.
The movie hit a record low.
I mean, it's past 500 million
earning power. Like. Within the first
500
weekend,
million is half of $1 billion.
Within the first weekend, it lost like 30-something% from Friday to Sunday, which is like literally
and from weekend to weekend,
it beat
70%.
Like fucking world records of like worst drop off ever. And by the second weekend, it was at the exact same drop off level as fucking X-Men Origins Wolverine. That bad. The only other like worst movie that trumped that was Hulk's Ang Lee's Hulk. That was the only other movie that dropped off that much. So
superhero
you could
movie.
say, and a lot of people have made this argument, and a lot of people, like the analytics apparently show, that opening day or opening weekend box office results are usually tied closer to marketing. So, and obviously they marketed the shit out of this movie. And
they did it poorly though with that third trailer. We'll have to say that the third trailer, like, it totally fucked them up.
And probably, but the thing is, all those initial numbers that people were like, "Oh my god, it's making so much money." That was just because marketing, because they put it out there so much that people were like, "Well, it's a big movie, they're gonna see it." And then people just started realizing how fucking garbage it was. And I'm sorry for using the term garbage if that insults anybody out there. But I feel that way.
I think the sad thing is about this movie, though, that a lot of other movies we didn't really see with is that there's a critic backlash from the beginning, even before the movie came out.
Yeah,
and a lot of people didn't get...
so.
Okay, sure, but a lot of people didn't get to see the movie unjudged, because there's not people like you and I who would be like, you know what, it might be shit, I'm going to go watch it. There's some people who are like, oh, Roger and Ebert said it's fucking garbage, I'm not watching this movie, you know? So they don't even get to make their own opinion of it. So in some sense, that's kind of a little bit of a bad
That's
play.
for the people, though.
No, I get it. I get it.
There's a reason why Rotten Tomatoes exists.
Yeah, but I'm saying when 10 out of 10 times, if someone says to you, oh, that movie's like, if some movie came out, let's say Terminator 5, right? Whatever. And we knew the last Terminators were good. Actually, you know what? Even better. Someone came up to you and said, yo, Iron Man 3 is garbage. You know, you're probably going to go into a movie expecting it to be garbage. Or, like, if you looked back at the last two and you're like, oh, man, Iron Man 2 was good. Iron Man 1 was good. Why is this person saying that Iron Man 3 is garbage?
Probably because it was garbage.
Yeah. But it makes you have an opinion before you go into the movie.
Yeah, but what is that? What are you trying to say, Shane? I don't understand what your argument is.
Never mind. And this is why I'm telling you that that is probably not the case for the majority. And it was not the case for me either, where I heard somebody say, because and Carlos can attest, before the movie came out, before any reviews, before anything came out, I was saying, I'm not going to watch this movie. I'm going to boycott it because and like you're saying, the trailers, when I saw the trailers and saw how bad the dialogue was and saw how much crap they were throwing at it, and I was like, okay, this movie, I mean, the trailer just, it showed you everything, practically showed you everything that happens in the movie, other than the ending. And then just the dialogue was just so fucking bad. So since the beginning,
Michael Cera,
I judged that movie.
I actually thought that he was a very good Lex Luthor, though.
Oh, stop!
Okay, no, he was good.
First, okay,
he was a good bad guy.
So you talking about Michael Cera?
I'm talking about the guy who played Lex Luthor.
But he was Jesse Eisenberg, but he was doing a Michael Cera impression the whole time.
I think even people who liked the movie hated him.
If you want to make jokes about that, but that was a good Lex Luthor.
Wait, have you ever seen like actual Lex Luthor though? Have you ever seen like any kind of representation of Lex Luthor?
From Spacey?
Bro, he.
So does he behave that way?
Lex Luthor, like to me,
does he behave like a psychopath?
The whole entire base of the movie, like he pretty much orchestrated everything.
Oh my god, dude!
For absolutely no reason.
He was literally the worst part of the whole movie.
For his reasons,
what reason?
For what reason?
No reason.
What? Tell me the reason. Right now.
What are his reasons?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he said it. Like, what did he say? He said something about people with power and not doing something, or people with power and doing stuff.
What does that mean? That literally, you said nothing right now.
I can't remember the line that he said, but he was pretty much like saying like he's tired of people without power, pretty much like the Superman character, who he is like he can be as super powerful as he can be, but he chooses to do so little with his power.
So let's kill him.
Yeah.
I mean there's no motivation.
It's nonsensical
for that. Like he had absolutely no motivation. And the only hint to a motivation, which was also extremely vague, and it was totally thrown in there just to set up the fucking rest of the movies, is at the end he says like, or isn't he saying like, oh, he's coming or something? Which he's talking about Darkseid. So it's like at the end, very, very last few minutes of the movie, it's like, oh, so Darkseid had something to do with it? Why would Darkseid even give a shit about Lex fucking Luthor? Yeah. It's like, why? Since when? At what point there was no other hint saying that
they were going to have Bryan Cranston, right? He was supposed to be Lex.
I think that was more of a he wanted to be Lex.
He was he was literally up for it. They were gonna give it to him, and then they had Jesse Eisenberg reading for the part of Jimmy Olsen or some other like side character, and then like I think it was Zack Snyder's, I think his wife or somebody was like,
I like that kid.
It'd be crazy. What if he was Lex Luthor? And it was like, oh my god, you're right. That would be so crazy. Nobody would expect it. And then they just did it.
I need to see the facts on that. I think you're just pulling that out.
It's so ridiculous, Shane. And you doubt me because it sounds so stupid. And it literally happened.
It could be true, but I mean, I still stand by it. Like, I think he did, like, his acting as that type of Lex Luthor that you can see that he's like that. God, I can't remember the word.
An idiot.
He's not an idiot.
Different.
No.
Unique.
He's
with
not
3
different.
Qs.
He's more maniac.
If you saw that dude at like the movie theater or whatever, just like talking, you would be like, that guy's an idiot.
But he's not.
Well, everything he has was fucking inherited from his dad, apparently.
Yeah, but not his smartness and his connivingness.
But what did he do? I don't understand what he did.
He didn't do anything. All he did was...
What made him so cool, Shane?
He just...
literally, I'm like, I want you to tell me what.
He orchestrated the whole entire film.
But how?
No.
How?
Yeah.
Okay. He got
besides his like sweet graphic design skills
to go against Superman. right? He got Batman to want to kill
He did
Superman.
kill everybody in the courtroom. Okay.
That when they kidnapped Lois and they got him in Africa, and then Superman went to save him, and then
he figured out who Superman's weakness is. He found out who Superman is.
All right.
He knows who Batman is.
Apparently.
He pretty much knows who all of the metahumans are because he's the one who graphic designed all their logos and put their records and names into 4 folders.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. He's also a graphic designer.
He just did it all.
Apparently.
And it was just
with no motivation.
Step by step.
At least no motivation that was clearly depicted in this movie other than potentially trying to set up something for the rest of
He wasn't even in control of it.
Why do they shave his head?
When you go to jail, they shave your head.
Yeah, when
do
you
they?
go to jail, they do that.
Don't they just give you a buzz cut?
Oh, maybe.
He asked for the full...
Oh, did he? I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
All right, so his motivation is very unclear, and it's probably some...
I cannot remember, but it was something along those lines.
It was so good that you can't remember it.
I'm sure he had some really shitty one-liners that was probably pulled from several different books that didn't make any sense or actually build a story other than like, oh, I remember
it's not Lex Luthor.
I remember the book
Ultimately,
that.
That's not Lex Luthor. That's a completely different character. Lex Luthor is not a psychopath. He's not the Joker. He doesn't behave that way. That's not his character. He's not a long-haired, skinny geek. He's a fucking force to be reckoned with. He's Superman's equal in a lot of ways, and that's just not what we got. And we got robbed of it. We got deprived of it, and I'm angry as a fan. I'm angry that we didn't get an accurate representation of what we deserve.
Or a better one, at least.
But if you look at the whole entire movie, it's no one's who they really are.
What?
That's the problem.
But that's what they're building off of.
Yeah, well, they're building, exactly. I know.
They're building Superman to be back to be the Superman who we know him to be. They're building Batman to be the Batman we know him to be. You know, the next time we see Lex Luthor, he's probably going to be the Lex Luthor that you really want him to be. But like, I don't get it. Like, I guess for me, I just seen that all and I respected it.
All right,
for what it was.
Let's just agree to disagree. You say Lex Luthor, you liked him.
He was good.
Everybody else hated him. Whatever. It's okay.
Batman was good.
It's completely
that.
okay.
Superman was good in it. I mean, like the ultimate parts about this movie that to me that I really didn't like was the Aquaman moment. That was like utterly garbage.
The Flash moment.
The flashback.
The cyborg origin story, which kind of negates his entire story. If they show that again in his movie, it's going to be like, come on.
They'll never give Cyborg his own movie, so they just had to stuff it in there.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have his own movie?
So. I don't know.
I don't think there's any Cyborg movie scheduled.
I don't think so.
Oh, well. Never mind then.
I mean, it's that and then...
Yeah, it's scheduled for 2020. Maybe. Oh, okay. What is this? Let me see what this is.
I don't know.
I mean, they're fast tracking everything. I think Justice League is already filming. I think
they're probably gonna try and release Justice League around the same time that Infinity Wars comes out or whatever.
I think I think it's coming out even before that.
Maybe, but I kind of think like how most movies are. Like when one studio releases an animal movie, the other studio releases like a similar animal movie. So I think they're trying to bank that way, but that's just what I say. But getting back to those characters, like I like how, you know, especially when Batman was fighting Doomsday, like he had no reason to be there. Like he had none. Like there's nothing he could do. Like except run away. Like to me that was perfect.
I mean, he was saved. By
Wonder Woman, which to me was just kind of like
and he dragged fucking Doomsday over to the city. Why?
Huh?
Yeah. It's Doomsday was in an isolated or whatever it is, that little island in the middle, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go get that staff from over here. I'm gonna lure him back into the city." What? You're Batman. Yeah. You're the smartest fucking person ever.
Nope.
Apparently not. And then immediately when he gets there, he crashes and is about to get killed if Wonder Woman doesn't just happen to decide, maybe I could help this guy.
I mean, I guess he...
Did he tell her he was Batman? Or did she already know? She already knew, probably.
Probably knew, man. She's a metahuman. She knows. Like, everyone knows who everyone is in the movie, except people.
All right. Well, here's okay. Yeah. Let's go back.
Well, I think Wonder Woman is actually the best part of the whole movie. I saw somebody on social media. They were saying that like, oh, I really like how they made Wonder Woman like a Greek goddess with like like a warrior. Seriously? And I was just like, well, you mean Wonder Woman? Like
they didn't do anything.
Like you mean Wonder Woman? Like the fucking actual character.
So this is another thing about why I was like a little ticked off about the Wonder Woman thing, and this is completely like it might be irrational. Why was she in a plane? She can fly, and two, I mean, it's not like she's out here trying to like fucking pretend, oh, I'm a human or anything like that. She's just trying to hide her identity, whatever. And it's either she can fly or she has a fucking invisible jet. Pick one.
Yeah.
Why is she in a jet? And oh, look, the news.
Maybe she just wants to live that Diana Prince life.
Sure. Well, wherever, yeah, whatever. Anyways,
you get what I'm saying. Maybe that's it. Maybe she wants to be the Luis Ochoa.
Well, whatever she wanted to be, they definitely did not elaborate on the movie or create any sort of.
It was too little bit of time to get into.
That's part of the problem. It's like they're just everybody. Every little subplot was just given too little time to develop, and in order to kind of get every little subplot from point A to point B, so many slices from those storylines had to be cut and like condensed and then rushed, and then you just had to accept that this plot, while you weren't watching, did all this shit, like moved along so much because we just have no other way to show it, or we just don't have time to show you that process. But anyways, here's something. Let's go back to Superman, and this one also kind of pissed me off, especially the more I thought about it. So in most incarnations that I've seen of Superman can be in space, correct?
Yeah.
And he can listen to people's cries or just people. He has super hearing, right? Yeah. Am I correct on this?
Yeah,
he does.
Okay. And you see samples of this in this movie, so you understand. I mean, when he rescues Lois Lane, she's in the middle of the fucking Middle East. Africa, I'm sure he probably knew because, whatever.
They're dating.
He probably knew, but he also has a job, so it's not like he's going to be just, hanging out.
Yeah, but, say what you're saying.
But you could say that he
has tabs on her.
Exactly. He could have still been in Metropolis and heard her and like whatever and then rushed over there. Would you say, considering that he's just as fast as Flash or whatever, or like that, he could have been there, he could have flown around the world in a second.
Yeah.
Right.
And you could say that he heard her from far away or whatever.
Or maybe he was just hovering above.
In the fucking hour that he had to save his mom, which she was not in any sort of, they were in a warehouse. They weren't in like a containment room, like a soundproof room.
You're thinking too much into it, bro.
No, I am. No. I am thinking too much into it. Yeah, I completely am. And that's what I'm telling you. When I first watched it, I was a little confused because it was like,
I mean, there's so many instances where the movie is nonsensical.
No, and you're
pointing one out of like literally hundreds of situations that this one you could also say the same thing about.
The reason why I say that especially this one that pissed me off the most is because this is the exact reason that got Batman and Superman fighting. This was the reason that Superman flew over to Gotham to fight Batman. I mean, obviously he was he was going there to fight him because the whole thing was like,
Lex Luthor,
bring me Batman's head for some reason. So it's like that was the reason for Batman versus Superman. Yeah, that was the one thing that set it off.
The rage is what blinded Superman.
Sure. It wasn't. Yeah, but here's the thing.
Like Superman. If we're talking Superman, like legit Superman, then he rescues Martha in like less than a second, puts her safely where she needs to be, and then is fighting Doomsday like the next second.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that what happened
without even trying?
I mean, isn't that kind of what happened with Lois Lane? She was abducted, and he came in last second, saved her from the fall.
Yeah, and he got blamed. He took a lot of shit for that.
What do you mean?
All those guys dying in Africa. It was like a big plot point afterwards. Like, oh, Superman, we can't trust him because of that thing that happened in Africa.
But here's the thing. Lois Lane is a reporter, a very well-decorated, like, respected reporter. Why can't she just say, no, he just saved me. He didn't actually cause all this death.
Well, I mean, if you kind of look at his record where, when he was fought Zod.
But what happened, though? I don't even know what happened.
What do you mean?
What was the incident exactly?
Oh, well, when
got everybody upset. Was it because like some of those guys were like army agents or whatever? Like Jimmy Olsen was also like some kind of Navy SEAL.
Was that Jimmy Olsen?
It wasn't Jimmy Olsen.
No, that wasn't Jimmy Olsen. No,
it wasn't him. It was just some other undercover CIA guy.
Yeah.
So
no, it was Jimmy. It was Jimmy Olsen.
It was not Jimmy Olsen.
He died.
Okay, all right.
He's definitely so not coming back.
That's because there was those casualties. That was Superman's fault.
That's what they're blaming.
According to this movie, anytime somebody dies around Superman, it's obviously his fault.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't really know what even happened.
Well, it's
just people started, like there was a confrontation. There was terrorists, and they started shooting at each other.
It's because Lex Luthor's guys. Supposedly, the whole point was to put all the blame on Superman, which fine, whatever. It's like, but Lex Luthor's guys.
I didn't even see anything that happened that was that bad.
Killed them all. Which they were, they were all terrorists. So I don't know why everybody's like.
Maybe there's a little bit of backstory that Lex Luthor's goons killed some other people and Superman showed up. But then it was really solidified that when Superman went to have that talk.
What was that whole thing with the iced tea? I had no idea what was happening there.
See, because you're not paying attention. Remember when
it was a dumb conversation?
When Lex Luthor was talking to the lady, the senator, like she said something about you can put like piss and call it, Granny's sweet tea and stuff like that. And exactly at that same point is the whole reason for what.
But did she drink it?
No, she didn't drink it. She just saw it.
She just saw it, and then she knew that something was wrong. But
no, actually, I think she started to smell it, and then she realized, and she was like,
"No, well, it wasn't the smell that was causing her. It was the fact that it was there that she's like, oh, somebody sabotaged this shit."
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, and
that was weird.
I believe in that same exact dialogue that he had with her. That's when he kind of explained his reasoning for why he did everything as well. I mean, take it or leave it. A lot of people said
I'll leave it.
A lot of people dislike the movie for all these reasons. I've kind of went in there, initially saying like, "Oh my god, this movie is gonna be shit. It's gonna be crap." But
that probably helped you because you went in with such low expectations that you got something out of it that you weren't expecting.
Well, I went in with
I went into it with really low expectations, and somehow it was worse than what I thought it was going to be. So that I had a different experience.
You're just like, wait, this is not Black Panther. This is not Marvel.
No, well,
it's a DC.
No,
why am I watching this? This is not Justice.
This is not this Young motherfucker Justice. Reads all the DC.
No, he doesn't.
Dude, I watched fucking Young Justice League versus Teen Titans just last night. It was actually a really good movie.
The cartoons. But anyway, continue.
I love these characters. Superman's one of my favorite characters, and he's one of my favorite characters because for the same reason why Captain America is one of my favorite characters, is because it's somebody that I can think about in a situation like when I have a decision to make. I mean, it sounds cheesy as fuck, but I'm like, yo, what would Superman do in this situation right now?
Not even Jesus.
Well, you know what?
Jesus doesn't exist to me. Jesus is made up, bro. So, I use somebody that I can actually hold on to.
Right.
And that's this idea that Superman has the moral clarity, right? So the Superman that I believe in is not this unsure of himself version of Superman that isn't sure whether or not he should save people because, like his dad said, like, well, we saved the farm, but then there was like all this collateral damage that happens, and it's like saying like, yo, if I like save a cat from a tree, is that like, am I gonna knock the tree over? Is the tree gonna like kill smash a house or something? Like, no, that's not what you think. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do all the time, every single time. And that's, somebody that I care about, but I think it's also somebody that we need in this world. We need that version of Superman because times are hard out there. And we went with Saiyan. He's 13 years old. And I'm sad that he is not going to get to see like an on-screen version of Superman that can do that for him.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point in the universe, there is no moral compass in the DC universe. Or the DC cinematic universe. They're like, no. Who's the guy that you're rooting for at this point? No one.
Nobody.
Well, I mean, I think
Wonder Woman.
And that's fairly subjective. Yes, sure. I mean, but the thing is, like, right. they just decided to go with the least liked version of the story, or like everybody. Usually these are like I'm not sure if they're like side stories, but they're definitely like not the main stories, not the main portrayals of these characters. These are like just like what ifs. These are like what ifs. That's like, ooh, what
not
if,
more
what
so
if,
what ifs.
What if Batman was super dark, or what if Superman had like a really weird, controlled by the government type darkness to it, or whatever.
Yeah, well, they actually did. Like, I watched young from the Dark Knight. Teen Titans last night, and where they actually fought Superman, and in that story, I thought it was handled really well. Actually, it was Raven's dad,
which is Trigon.
So he actually possessed Superman, and everybody knows that Superman is susceptible to magic. Yeah, so he has a weakness against magic, and they actually had a fight Superman. I'm talking about the Teen Titans.
The best part of that movie was when Batman was like, "Nope, I gotta take myself out."
Oh yeah. I'm too dangerous. I'm too dangerous. Like, Superman is okay. At least he has a weakness.
Yeah. So I crackled at that point. It was like, wow. But, yeah. I mean, I think okay, and from what you're definitely explained, Luis, and what you were saying, Carlos, is something that interestingly, like I asked my roommate Megan, and she felt the same way, because as a regular just moviegoer, she's used to having that Superman be, he's always on point. He's the what's the first guy's name? Christopher Reeve Superman, knight in shining armor. Then Batman, of course, he's always smart and super sophisticated, and Playboy-esque. But in this one, as she says, like she felt kind of weird that how was Batman like the bad guy? Like was he evil? So whatever. So the original movie screen tropes that we see these guys go through based up against this was I'm guessing it was a little bit harder for people to actually digest.
Part of the reason why this movie, quote unquote, was bad or was critically received really badly is because it didn't appeal to
anybody
really. Exactly. Anybody, like
fans or casual fans.
They decided to go with a Superman that it's not necessarily the most popular version Superman. Of him. Not, and I don't mean popular in the sense of the most liked or whatever. I mean the most done version of him, or the version that people know more of. So I can appreciate that they decided to go with a slightly different Superman or whatever, but that also helped attribute to the how not
performance
the performance of the film. Exactly.
Yeah. And to me that was just one of
a
million things.
We could just do a whole podcast about this
a laundry
movie.
list of things that I thought were dumb. Literally, we haven't even talked about the music. Every single time.
I wanted to bring that up,
but so Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL.
Is that like a Skrillex guy?
No.
He's a dance producer. Yeah.
Oh, that's why.
But he's done a few plenty of movies that you would recognize. I haven't.
Hans Zimmer?
I have no.
Or Junkie XL. Hans Zimmer for sure. Yeah, he's done everyone. But oh my god!
And you know what?
Just a bad job.
This movie, no joke. He said this in an interview. He is. I'm not sure if he's quitting, but he's definitely not going to do superhero movies for a long time. and it was because of this movie.
Thank God.
And I think it's because he was saying that, okay, so he already did the Nolan Batman, so it was hard for him to kind of like let that go when coming up with like a new flavor for this Batman. I completely understand. The music from the first Superman was more inspirational. It was more like uplifting. Obviously, this one was not. So it was like, okay, so how do I let that original version, which is it's the same guy. So how do I turn that? And on top of that, on top of him not being able to really kind of differentiate the music for this movie, because this movie had so many plots, it had so many characters thrown in. It's like every time, like there was no flow. I assume that's what kind of put him off to making superhero movies, because it's like, listen, I can't just keep fucking coming up with shit out of my ass. And this movie just made it worse because there's no musical flow. I mean, at the end,
it took me out of the movie.
When Wonder Woman comes in, it's like the music completely changes to some just utter garbage music that you're like, oh, what? Like
no.
Like, yeah, the music completely changed the vibe. Like it was a completely different tone, and it's like towards the end of the movie.
Every single time that something important on the screen happened, there was an audio cue. You know, there was like a dong, like just to let everybody know.
Oh, hey
guys, this movie's really complex, so we're gonna help you. Yeah, check this out. This is important.
Yeah,
and it's like, dude, are you fucking dumb? Like, stop it. Just stop.
A good set of people are, but
yeah,
I will say, I think the truest character in this whole entire movie was Alfred. Perry White.
Perry White didn't need to be in this movie.
Bro, no, Perry White needed to be in this movie because he was trying to tell Clark,
he was trying to let him do the sports. He was like, bro, you got to do the sports, man.
No one cares about Clark Kent versus Batman. Like, no one's going to read that.
We need the Steelers and the Panthers.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
These sports.
I mean, I do appreciate that, but I mean, there's like a lot of scenes that we didn't need him in it. And literally, like, they didn't go anywhere.
Well, a lot of scenes that we didn't need in general.
In particular didn't really go much. But
the general, like, that Lois was talking to, like, I need to get information on this bullet. Like, what you mean a bullet that acts just like normal bullets? Like, what is there like some kind of secret bullet? Is a LexCorp
the forensics of it? She wants to know like who made it. You know,
yeah.
Like
but what was special about this bullet?
That no other bullet manufacturer made it.
Yeah, it was like a one-off type bullet.
What did it do?
It was just a regular bullet. It was just that it was a lead.
Okay.
It was just exactly.
It was just to connect.
LexCorp is producing like special bullets that don't do anything special.
For some reason, LexCorp wanted a trail to lead back to him. Apparently.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which makes no sense because maybe I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. And here's another thing about Lex Luthor, like another little nugget that I was like, what the fuck is going on? Okay, so he's I don't get it. When he's talking to that white old guy and he's like, I want full access to Zod's or the Kryptonian ship. Okay. Oh, yeah. and I want Zod's body. Oh, okay. All right, here, eat this fucking Jolly Rancher. Okay, like what were they like? What was the deal?
Yeah.
What was that other guy getting from Lex Luthor?
Money, probably.
Yeah, what?
It wasn't explained.
It was just like
it was. Yeah,
it was just saying like, by the way, this is how we got all that shit.
He has special pull with the government because reasons.
Yeah, you literally had them eating out of his hand.
Yeah.
But there was for no reason though. It was just
for the reason so he can get access to all that stuff, so he can do all the cool stuff.
Yeah, but it wasn't earned. It wasn't. The plot point wasn't earned. It was just shown, and it wasn't. It was just thrown in there. It's just how bad movies are made.
And I was writing a review that I'm not sure if I'm even going to publish, just because it's unnecessary at this point.
Maybe you should.
But something I said, listen,
put it on your live journal.
If this was a movie about, and this is how I wrote it, if it was Ultra Strong Man versus Shadow Dweller, like a indie movie, I would be like, okay, that's just another bad movie, whatever. But it's not. It's Batman versus Superman. It is it is one of the biggest licenses, you call
IPs.
it, or IPs, whatever.
That's what we call them in the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the planet, really, especially superhero movies are the hottest shit right now.
Listen, it's possibly the same way on two things. Look what happened to the X-Men. Look what happened to
those got a lot of shit.
Spider-Man. Yeah. A lot of shit, and they were like Marvel's biggest IPs.
It's hard to get them. It's for some reason hard to get them right.
Right, but if you kind of look at what Marvel did, especially with the whole Disney stuff, they took Iron Man and Captain America and like all these other people who weren't really as popular, and now they're fantastic because they had that. We need
that Blue Beetle movie.
Exactly. So, DC. They've been riding off of Batman's nuts for the longest, and Nolan's films were fantastic.
I gotta dig deeper into the well.
And you know what? And some people were saying,
and hold on a second, to sum it up, really, Warner Brothers, they got shook because they ain't no such things as halfway crooks, because they're scared to death and they're scared to look, because honestly, from the get go, they were scared of releasing the movie around the same time as Civil War.
Yeah,
they didn't want to go up to compete, so they pushed the movie forward. They knew that this was going to bomb or probably not do as good, and they took their chance. They put it out anyway. Listen, at the end of the day, it's something that they can learn from, hopefully, that, maybe that they can correct, but might not be able to. But
now it's Snyder.
He might not have a job going into next time.
Well, he's doing Justice League, apparently. Yeah, that's the next release, which apparently is next year, 2017.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Which is like, stop. It's like, no, stop.
Just keep on going.
It's like, slow down.
Keep going. But anyway, I think you guys brought up some good points, and I see the gray area between why I like this movie and why you guys dislike this movie, being it's not so thin, and I think that's good.
Well, I mean, I want everybody to know that the reason I'm giving this movie so much shit is because I care about it, and I want this. If this was a single one-shot movie, I'd be like, okay, fine, we'll move on. But because it's like, this is like a precursor to so many other movies, it's like, fuck, you're going to waste.
A launching pad.
It's like, we have the next 20 years planned, and it's like, I'm not going to be able to enjoy it until they reboot it. But
you got off on a horrible start.
Yeah. On a positive note, and I'm not sure if these are rumors or whatever, because I haven't looked into it, but supposedly Batman's movie with Ben Affleck, I'm pretty sure
there's a script. There's a script.
Is he directing it?
He wrote it. Yeah.
I'm excited. That's one thing that I'm excited, because I do think that Ben Affleck deserves a much better shot at Batman, and I think he
was good.
He was great. Could have been greater, and I think that, like the saying goes, if you want something done right, do it yourself. So I'm glad that they put him in his own hands, which is going to be tough, being Batman and directing a Batman movie.
Not really. I mean, okay,
obviously he's done it like a lot, but it's Batman.
Well, I think that I'm excited. I mean, just because I think in Snyder's hands, this is a disaster. But looking towards the future, Patty Jenkins is going to be doing Wonder Woman. You talked about Ben Affleck and Batman. Patty Jenkins, she did Monster, and she seems like that could be a really good movie, especially from what I've seen of Wonder Woman so far. I really liked.
Strong.
And then James Wan, he's directing Aquaman, and just reading a little bit about an interview. He said like, "Oh, we're gonna have a lot of fun with that movie."
Yeah,
and I was just like, a lot of like fun is not anything that anybody was talking about it in Batman versus Superman. So it could have used a little bit of more fun, I think, because I didn't have fun watching it.
Apparently,
and the fact that he's like, oh, this is gonna be cool and fun, and like fucking Khal Drogo and Aquaman. I was like, okay, cool. At least that's like a positive note that I can look forward to.
Well, I think that's DC employing a little bit of marketing because everybody that's going to be working on future films are input by putting the word fun into any description that they're saying about the future films. So I think that's a little bit of marketing. They're like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's not going to be a disaster. It's going to be fun.
They're trying to save themselves, man. Hopefully they do. Big ups to these guys anyway for taking these properties and taking a swing at it and failing and prevailing. But at least they're doing it, and it gives us something to talk about. So I think we had a good show.
Yeah,
I think
we're still on.
We didn't really shift sides.
Yeah, we didn't shift sides. We
just talked about it, and I think that's good. So as I'm saying, good pod, and I just want to, as always, say a little shout out to Some Jerk and Single Flow for letting us use your awesome Broccoli Man. Actually, no, it's a little side tidbit. Like, I met the guy who created that song the other day. His name is Skinny. Wait, what was his name? Damn it, I forgot his name. I'm so sorry, bro.
Skinny Hendrix.
Skinny Hendrix.
Did you get his autograph?
No, we shook hands and we did like a bro hug. So I think that's about closer than.
Did you take a selfie? Like, hey.
Nah, I didn't do that. But yeah, so big ups to them, and thank you guys for listening. Hopefully you guys will enjoy this, and maybe you guys will pick your sides about Batman versus Superman. You know what we thought.
Let us know what you think on our Tumblr, right?
Yeah, on the Tumblr, yeah.
They can leave messages on there, right?
Anywhere.
Yeah, they can leave messages
Facebook,
if they want to.
We don't have a Facebook.
No. Boy, maybe we might need to make one.
Okay. If you have to be friends with us on Facebook for that. Yeah,
Thank
Tumblr, SoundCloud, subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.